if we're live or not. Also, buddy, all that itching, buddy, you gotta do something else, man. Are we live or are we not live? I'm gonna figure this out. Do-do-do-do. I don't know if anyone can hear me or not. About to mark up these charts here in a second. I'm just trying to make sure this works. And we are going to mark up NASDAQ. And I might consider marking up S&P. We'll take a look at the dollar, Google, what are my thoughts for the week, and essentially, what am I expecting? So just give me 1 second here. I am just trying to double check and make sure I'm live before I start marking up, and just give it some time for maybe 1 or 2 people to join. And I will be trading live throughout the week as long as time presents. But for the most part, I plan on trading live Monday through Friday. Tuesday might be an exception, but we'll see how that goes. Hey, buddy, you got not to go home. All that. Sorry, you need to go home. Go. Go home, buddy. Go home. Go home. Yeah. Trying to see if I'm live right now. Okay, cool. I got confirmation. So go ahead and mark this up. So first of all, NASDAQ. So I'm looking at just very briefly here. Let's just kind of scan these markets quickly here. Let's go to dollar for a second. So dollar has not been doing nothing. I've been excited about dollar. I mean, this is a mess. If you've been trading Forex, I just know you've been suffering because this is bunch of consolidation. Market's not doing nothing with with dollar. Ultimately, let's see how we're feeling here. Let's go on a weekly chart. Just glancing at dollar here. I mean, ultimately, I think we can touch these lows here. I think that's where it wants to go to. Um, for dollar, so dollar's pushing lower. Ideally, you know, we should be in a risk off scenario, meaning that indices should be taken off, gold should be taken off, the cryptos, any asset class that's opposite to the dollar should be taken off. Um, and that's what we've been seeing so far. So if you look at dollar as well, we're also this monthly fair value gap here. So one of those things below here, I won't be surprised if they tag that. But obviously they've been dancing around here, playing around, and just not a fan of dollar. Okay, but overall weak slash consolidation. And if we were to go on, let's start with the calendar. That's number one thing you want to check, right? What is happening for the week? It's NFP week, as you know. So therefore, you want to be careful trading this week. So let's look at it. Okay, NFP week. So Monday, we actually had the Fed chair speaking at 2 p.m. So this 1:55 p.m. This is going to be very interesting. I don't know what the speech is about. We want to be careful and mindful. You don't want to be placing a trade right ahead of this. I think the AM session is still good to trade, but as we get into the PM session, if I'm inclined to take a trade, it'll be after the speech. I don't know what it's about. Oh. And then Tuesday here, ISM. I like this day. Wednesday. So it's NFP week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So this week should be solid. However, if you are new to trading, you want to be careful as we get into the latter half of the week. So NFP tends to move in a manner that's not really as organized, or that could confuse someone that's just starting off. So the idea is that you want to be in your trades between Monday through Wednesday. And then Thursdays, Fridays, you want to be careful and kind of be on the sideline, reduce your risk. So should be a volatile week. Every day has a red folder. So should be a very interesting week. Okay. Now let's get this out of the way. Let's get back to the charts. And let's talk about indices. So one thing that I noticed is if we're looking at all the indices here. So let's start with NASDAQ. Okay, we can see that NASDAQ is right here. Look at the S&P for a second. S&P has made a higher high. And look at US 30. Has made a higher high. So NASDAQ, okay, has not made a higher high. Do I, just because the other ones have made higher highs, does that mean NASDAQ's automatically gonna fly higher? No, I don't look at price that way. In fact, this could be a sign that we might be turning down. Honestly, I don't like the fact that we left these double lows here, these double bottoms here. So I'm not saying we're just gonna drop all the way down here, but this area is very interesting. Maybe they wait till after the election to get here. The point is, I'll keep track of this area moving forward. See how we want to eventually target it. But speaking of all the other indices making higher highs, I'm watching NASDAQ, and what I see it has done is taken liquidity here and here, and we have this fair value gap. So unless we overcome this daily fair value gap, I'm not just going to subscribe to NASDAQ pushing higher. Okay? You can't just ignore high time frame levels. So this fair value gap here, which I'll highlight here shortly, on daily chart, is something to watch. Now, if we are to climb above with like a body close, then we can start looking for higher highs. But I cannot just jump the gun because of indices. All the indices have made higher highs, and NASDAQ has not. Then I can't just expect to keep pushing higher. And if you watch my videos, oftentimes I tell you, whenever there's such a disconnect between asset classes that should be correlated, there tends to be some type of reversal, some type of retracement, or complete reversal. So the fact that we've taken out this high right here, these highs, and ran into a fair value gap, this could lead to some type of retracement and full-on reversal. Not saying it's going to happen, but that's kind of how I'm thinking. So I'm very skeptical here. I'm not just bullish on this. I'm watching very close to see what happens. And if you look at NASDAQ, right, NASDAQ, what does NASDAQ consist of? The top 100 technology stocks in the U.S. So I like to kind of keep an eye on the big players, right, that help make up NASDAQ. So, which is FANG, right? Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. Obviously, now we have NVIDIA in the mix as well. So, let's just look at something like NVIDIA for a second on a daily chart. So, consolidating here for NVIDIA, get Microsoft. It's Microsoft that come on, pop up. See, Microsoft is still like down here. It looks like it hopped this fair value gap, and this could start selling off. Honestly, I'm not gonna jump the gun here, but options, puts. I don't know. But this is a nice fair value gap here. The price seems to have not risen to the occasion to go higher. And these double bottoms here are still in place. And then we have this right here that's in place. Not saying that we're just going to do that, but again, we're seeing S&P make a higher high and US 30, but look what's happening to technology stocks. We're getting some type of resistance here within this fair value gap here, right? That's highlighted here on Microsoft. Okay, so level here. This price want to leave that and then target these lows right here. It's a great question. Is it a possibility? I think so. But I think so. It's NFP week, so markets are going to do something. Are going to be very volatile, and we'll see if it wants to really tear away from here. If it starts really breaking down, this would be something we could target. I don't trade. Well, yeah, put it that way. Okay, this would be something we could target, right? If you're into stocks and stuff like that. If this starts breaking down here, this liquidity, this pool of liquidity here looks very, very solid. Very solid, in my opinion. Let's go to Nvidia. Okay, we already did that. So Microsoft, Nvidia, Netflix probably making higher highs. You know, people are at home. Couch potatoes are always watching TV. You know, when are you gonna get up and do something? Just playing. But Netflix constantly moving higher. Okay. Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, interesting. Apple looks like wants to push higher. Just released their iPhone 16, so Facebook pushing higher aggressively. But the one that really caught my attention I want to touch on is Google. So Google is still all the way down here. Let's go on a weekly chart. Like, it could keep climbing. It could get into this fair value gap here. But what I'm just trying to say is, overall, I'm being very cautious of the fact that the S&P has made a higher high. US has made a higher high, but the NASDAQ has not. That could lead to some type of reversal. It's something just watch out for. So don't just be hyper or just think that price is going to keep going up, because it could very well just start coming back down. So that's just the overall thought process beyond looking at just NASDAQ itself, looking within NASDAQ, seeing that there's some stocks that are also struggling. It yields the question: are we just going to keep going higher? So now let's look at a weekly chart. Now we're going to get into actually breaking down NASDAQ, how I'll break it down. So let's get into the weekly chart here. So first of all, object tree. This is a good area where you can organize your drawings. So I'm gonna hide the two green lines and put them into like a daily folder. Daily. Okay. So now all in that folder now. So if we go to daily chart, and I also only want this to show on the daily chart below. So now on daily chart, I'm gonna click on this again, and then click on the visibility, current interval, and below. Okay. So now if I go to weekly chart, those lines should not appear. So now weekly chart, I'm also looking at this weekly fair value gap right in here. And higher time frame is more. The higher the time frame, the stronger the level. So 1 second, guys. My Uber Eats is getting here. I haven't eaten all day. Okay. So there's weekly fair value gaps here that we're watching. So again, I'm not gonna just jump the gun and be fully bullish on this thing. unless we close with a body above here. And notice how we just wicked in there. So there's yet to be a body in here. And this candle's opening here. So if it wicks in there and it starts rejecting, that's going to be very interesting. So what areas am I watching for the week? We also have this fair value gap here. Weekly chart. So I want to see how price is going to gyrate between the two levels. That's what I'm watching here. If price goes lower first, now it's basically go higher than hit here. 1 second, that's gonna get my clock out. No. Yes, sir. 8740. All right, we're back. Okay, so I'm already watching how price is gonna gyrate between these two weekly levels, right? And that's what I'm watching. Keep it 100. Obviously, yeah. So what is the range between the two? Let's just kind of look at it. About a 400-point range. So I'm really watching that. Those are the two key areas overall I'm looking at to see how price wants to move from level to level. You know, it's already made a swing high up here on a daily chart. We also have this daily volume imbalance right here. There's just no bodies right here. So daily volume imbalance right there. So I'll be interested to see how price. It could. I mean, it looks like it already rejected going to the weekly level. And the question is, does it want to start dropping lower? Still, of course, Sunday, so I'm not going to press any button. But I was looking at this 4-hour chart. You can kind of see how all this liquidity to me, there's all these wicks here, double bottoms here. Price does not usually leave that in place. So we could just drop lower into this fair value gap here. And then if we break below that, obviously these lows are also in jeopardy here. So for me, what I would like to see, I'm really watching. I think the structure is already in place, honestly, for lower prices. Well, there's one caveat here. I'm also watching this 4-hour level here. If we go below that, for sure, I'm definitely thinking bearish. I already feel that way with the structure in place, but I'm not just gonna say anything or make anything concrete yet until we get into the AM session. So 4-hour chart. Keep everything on 4-hour. Stability. Currents fall below. All right, so I'm watching that, and if we go on a 1-hour basis, let's see. Yeah. So better yet, on the 1-hour basis, once we close below here, if we do, so there's a fair value gap right there, right? A 1-hour chart. Okay. If we could find our way to close below there, I don't even need to see close below 4-hour level. I really don't would even. If we can close below here on a 1-hour chart, I want to see this be used as resistance to then drive us lower here. And I think if we start breaking lower, I mean, all of this is going to be in play, all this liquidity. So just so you know, if we break below here, it's 1-hour fair value gap, I'll be thinking bearishness. Now, if we break below it and come all the way back up, obviously I'm changing back to bulls. So this is kind of like the line in the sand for me for bears. Now, in order for us to start going higher, I'm looking at this 1-hour fair value gap here. If we are to break above that, then we can use that support and go higher. But I would rather see us break lower, do some type of retracement, and then tackle these sweet double bottoms here, or retail, and everyone else gonna have their stop losses. So on Nasdaq, I'm not thinking bullish, put it that way. It has to show me something. It's not giving me. I just don't feel bullish about Nasdaq right now. I think we can get some type of retracement before we want to consider being bullish again. So that's just my take on Nasdaq here. And also notice how this high ran out. This high right here. So we already did some damage to the buys, to the sellers or whatever, taking on liquidity here. Then we dropped. Now we have these highs right here in place. Maybe the market during overnight gets higher a little bit, then it comes back down. We're gonna see. But I'm really watching this 1 hour fair value gap. And you can see how prices used in the past kind of move higher and higher. I want to see if we can break below that finally. And if we do that, then I think 19,952 is in the cards. One other thing I'd like to point out here is these significant price levels here. Boom, boom, boom. I also have a nice video coming out for you guys tomorrow. That's going to help you frame your mindset in terms of trading, psychology. I think you guys are gonna love it. For 1 or 2 of you that watch it, I love it. It's all good. The channel is gonna grow. Trust me, I have so much in the bag. People will have no choice but to listen because, by God's grace, I've just been working so hard, and the skill set's gonna keep speaking for itself. So, anyways, I digress there. 20,000 level. Then notice how we rejected the 20,500. There's things about these levels I'll probably talk about a little later, but for now, that's in the cards. So far, I like how I rejected 2,500, and I think this could push us all the way down to 20,000. Especially if it's right here too. That's like 250 level. So let's keep it simple. What I'm really doing here, I'm just looking at the quarterly levels. I like to watch how price gyrates between those. So we rejected the 20,500, got to 20,250. You see how it kind of like pushed around here. And now you can see how it kind of forms our resistance or rejection at the 20,250. If we are to reject there, ideally I want to see it go down to 20,000. If we keep on pushing, I think 19,500 is in the cards. So I'm going to draw this out here. It's kind of far down. Again, this might not happen today or this week, but just don't be surprised if price starts breaking down. My eyes are going obviously below here, and we have to do this weekly level. So if the week wants to close aggressively, then maybe the next week we can go all the way down here. I'm just thinking way ahead. Just way ahead. We may never go back down there, but keeping it simple again. I'm watching this 1 hour fair value gap here to see how that supports price, or reject. Fails to support price, and maybe gives us a push lower. So that's that. Levels. Dude, kind of starving. I haven't eaten all day. I've been working. Just working. Yes, I got some big bag food right now. I got some Wingstop. So I don't give a dang. I haven't eaten all day. It's gonna be like good calories at the wrong time, the terrible time. I don't care. I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow. So that's that. Let me see. Do I have everything marked up on the daily chart? So I do. So all these, yeah. So let's just watch. I think it's pretty simple. I don't think there's any rocket science here. And if we're looking at it from a weekly basis as well, put it this way. This was the weekly's low. Let's see. Monday is here. So we're going to use midnight Monday opening as the start of the week. So at midnight Monday, that's the start of the week for me. And all we did was establish last week. We established double bottoms and went higher. And now we're starting this week here. Monday for midnight candle right here. Bam. Okay, cool. So this is a framework that's in place from last week. Last week you just had all this momentum, and then the previous week, same thing. What's out? So the last 2 weeks we just had price create liquidity or support areas, push higher, create support, push higher. So if markets start crashing, I'm looking at previous weekly lows here and here. That's if we're start crashing. So that's something we're gonna be watching, and let's just make sure we have everything highlighted on the charts we want it to be highlighted. I need to find a better setting for my mouse. It's kind of annoying. I'm trying to click on a specific level. It's hard to toggle sometimes. Here. Okay, cool. So that's the business. And then on the low end, let's kind of mark this one here and make sure we have clarity on what this is. Right there. Colossal, please don't start. The dog's over here, he's barking. And then weekly fair value gap lower. There we go. So we have all the outlines. That's good. I don't really trade the S&P anymore. Like S&P, it's not really my cup of tea anymore. It just moves too slow. So this week could end up being an interesting week, right? I think I'm just saying, folks, I'm not, listen, guys, as a trader, just don't want to be too excited. Just, you only execute what you see, okay? As much as I'm not just going to go here and start selling unless I'm given the clear signal, all right? Those are stuff that we have to work on as traders. Don't get impulsive. The markets always tend to give you your setup. If you're watching the market, oftentimes you will have an idea of what the market wants to do, but then you might move in too early because some impulsive move, and then you take a loss, take another loss, and then when it finally sets up for it to actually deliver what you're expecting, you either are in such a deep hole that you can't climb out of, then you just end up not taking the trade, or if you take the trade, you're just not making that much money anymore. In fact, just recovering funds. So we're better off waiting. Going slower is better. Okay, speaking from experience, just go slow. Time, it's already Monday again. It's gonna be Monday again next week. By God's grace, it keeps us in the land of the living. Time is constantly moving. We can't beat time. But at the same time, we don't want to move too fast. When we're moving too fast, when you're chasing something, it evades you. The slower you go, the better. Just think slow, but move fast. Or think fast, move slow. That's what it is. Think fast, move slow. So let's just keep watching what price does here. If price again starts going crazy and gets outside this 1 hour fair value gap, then I will look at these highs as being in jeopardy. But as long as we're below this fair value gap, if we're just banging around here, I will just be watching how price wants to gravitate lower. That's my take right now, based off of all the markups from the 15-minute chart, from 1 hour, from the weekly to the 1 hour. I really don't have nothing on the 15-minute chart right now. See this little fair value gap here on the 15-minute chart. I don't know if I'll mark that up. I mean, price can get up there. Just mark it up just in case price decides to go all the way up there. We're gonna look at this from a regular trading hours perspective as well. See, make sure we're not missing anything. So this is how I mark on my charts pretty much. Okay, now let's look at it from regular trading hours. See if there's any liquidity pools that might be obvious. I mean, again, I think these lows are in jeopardy, like I was saying. And if we start breaking down lower, these lows are in jeopardy. This low's in jeopardy. This whole price, this chunk of price action is on jeopardy. If we are to start breaking lower, okay, like that's kind of my take. Look on a 1 hour basis. This looks like a trend line. Let's kind of draw this out. Let's see, it's a trend line here too. So it's a trend line, right? We already started breaking beyond it. I don't trade trend lines, just so we're clear. I was hoping we hadn't broken it because retail likes to do break. Retail like to see a trend line touch, a trend line touch, and then a trend line touch, and keep buying. And that's probably why they're getting this false move here. Barely touched it here, but obviously, trend line is so subjective. So we can do this. So this is how they were probably looking at it previously, right? And price touched it and pushed higher. And now we see it touch it again. It gave a false move and then it rejects. So my thing is just liquidity resting here for sure. There's liquidity resting here for sure. Probably some right here, and there's some right here. So I'm just watching, see this one's break down. I just think all we've done is literally climb higher and higher to take out this huge chunk of liquidity here. This people that had a stop loss above here. And maybe we start making our way lower. Just maybe we do that. I'm not sure. But that's what I'll be looking for. That's what I'm watching for. Like, can we start making our way lower? If we start going higher again, we need to understand that this level here, this gap in price, could also play a significant role in stopping price from continuing running higher, which you've already seen it do. See where my mouse is? Look all the way to the right. You see how when price gapped up higher, all it did was hit that level and reject. So I'm really watching the lows here. If you want to start going lower, and it's NFP, so it's a perfect time for them to do whatever they got to do to jack the market in whatever angle they want to jack it. The Fed chair is speaking on Monday. I don't know why, what it's about. I don't really follow too much. So it's a great question. Like, what are they going to do? Is there any news that we need to be aware of? Like, is he going to make any announcement, any surprise announcement? But I think they have to, or they're more than likely going to take something from the folks that have just been bullish and riding this wave up. And my food is getting cold, so I'm not gonna get into S&P here. Let's take a quick look at it from a daily perspective. Yeah, it's just been going higher, but with smaller candles. It's formulated a swing high here. Looking at it, right? Swing high is formed on daily chart with these 3 candles. 1, 2, 3. So swing high again. If you take your hand and put your thumb and your pinky, if you're to hold those down and pretty much hold up like 3, you see how your middle finger is the highest finger and then the one to the right to the left are smaller. That's a swing. That's called a swing high. You're looking at these charts, you can see here. This is like one of your fingers, it's your middle finger, and it's the one to the right of it. So create a swing high. That typically can start then a retracement. So if you look into a 4-hour chart, again, it's just so much liquidity resting here. All these wicks, I think price could start going lower. I'm definitely not bearish on S&P. I'd be a fool to say that right now because it just went to all-time highs. NASDAQ is failing to go to all-time highs. But I just think all these wicks here are just like a trap. Like, I think if they can push us lower below all of these wicks. That's my take. And then maybe come down here. But I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish on S&P. I'm more looking at a retracement on NASDAQ. That's why I'm more excited about trading. I think that one's it's more clear. So we're gonna keep watching that, but that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get on here, market the charts. This week could be a very good week. I have 2 accounts. If we're to log into them, give you guys the whole whole sauce right here. So doing this for us. I'm only doing this I'm uncomfortable doing this. I feel like just not doing it more. So, anyways, this is 150. I'm already funded 150K with Top Step here. This account's up at 3,000, close to 3,000. We'll see where we go with that. Then, this account here, it needs about 1,800 to pass the challenge. Because again, this account started at 150K. The goal is to get to 159,000. We're at 157,000, so it needs about 2 more thousand to get to pass that challenge. If we're to pass this, that'll get me at quote unquote $300,000 funded, right? And then this account here needs $1,000 more. If we're to pass those two this week, which I think we'll do, that'll put me at what, 450,000 funded. I'm also working with some accounts with Apex. So this week could be an interesting week that might lead to an interesting video later. We'll see. But I think these two accounts, the challenge could be passed there. But again, no rush. I'm really not excited. I'm just doing what I need to do, right? Doing what I'm supposed to, just trading. Again, if it ain't stake, I don't want it, right? Like if it's not a nice, solid setup, I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna rush. I'm taking my time. The market's always here, so I would suggest do the same thing. So apart from that, I'm logging out. Let me go eat this food. This Wingstop's, they're getting cold on me, and I'm about to stop. So talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Catch you on the live.